next bit is, does anyone have any questions for these wonderful, wonderful people? Anything that they have that they want to share? Yeah, in the back.
Yeah, hi. So I can hand out, or is the website? There's so much information.
It's a good question.
We could definitely put that on the website afterwards so that everything that everyone's spoken about is accessible.
On that note, we're doing a wrap-up of the event on Khoollect tomorrow. And then we'll have links to all of the speakers, of course, and then I'll make sure we delay any extra information.
And I have a handout for everybody. Like 10, I meant to say this, 10 ways to make your day more mindful. Take one, pin it up somewhere, mirror, fridge, office, take two. I brought plenty. So yeah, great.
Any more questions? Yeah?
I've just got one for Saasha. We just moved from Australia about 2 months ago, and I'm really struggling with the amount of waste that I'm constantly throwing away, because I think most things here, especially in supermarkets, everything's in a plastic bag. So they give you a plastic bag to you've got to buy one because they're trying to get rid of that, but every vegetable and just everything is in a bag. So I'm not sure if there are farmers markets and things like that, and I don't know how to reconcile that.
I would just say for people at the back, that was how do you deal with food in plastic, or wrapped in plastic, or come in multiple bags?
Well, almost every high street has a greengrocer, if not 2 or 3. So farmers markets are generally once a week activities, and they're great, but you might not always be able to get to them, and they can be more expensive, just to be honest. So you can shop at a greengrocer, or you can potentially subscribe to a veg delivery box service. The only thing I would say is plastic with vegetables is, I hate the cellophane that comes with it as well, but actually on average it does extend the shelf life, and it does result in less waste. So it's a bit of a trade-off. It's not quite so clear-cut that one is bad and one is better. So.
Very little idea. Something to this, trying to avoid the waste, So there are a couple of brands, supermarkets, that they sell legumes, lentils, pulses, cereal, grains, like your pantry essentials in bulk. Yeah, so you can avoid that plastic by bringing your own containers. One is Planet Organic in Maswell Hill, and the other one is Whole Foods Market. They have lots of branches, but the largest one is in High Street, Kensington. They have a wide variety of rices and beans and pulse.
Yeah. No?
A lot of the stuff seems really interesting, but I still feel it's a lot of the stuff is very, you have to go to organic markets, and you have to go to Whole Foods and places like that, which are fantastic, but for a lot of people that's not really an option because of the price, because of the location, because of a whole load of different reasons. So I guess I'm interested in what piece of advice would you give to someone who maybe can't afford to go and shop at Whole Foods, or can't afford to choose the organic options? What advice would you give to people who want to adopt either a slower lifestyle or organic lifestyle, the things that you're promoting? What would be your piece of advice for those kind of people?
Join a community garden, grow your own, that's for free.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots and lots of, there's probably a million community gardens across the UK, to be honest.
So for 2000, I run a network of community gardens. I was just going to say, it's called Capital Growth. They're all independent community school allotment sites all across 33 boroughs of London, and we have a map online where you can put in your postcode and find them and see who's looking for volunteers, where and when and how to get involved. We have a big event that welcomes new volunteers in April called the Big Dig. So it's called Capital Growth, and we love having new volunteers, and it's a more time-intensive but a more cost-effective way to access organic food in the city. And they always love having new volunteers, so Capital Growth, please check it out.
Thank you. I think also to add to that is that I can't afford organic food and to buy all this best stuff, but I think just taking time to think a bit more when you are in the supermarket, maybe not going for the thing that's in a bag you can get locally loose and it's not wrapped in plastic. You just take 2 more minutes. I don't have time to go to the supermarket and look around for things that aren't in packages, and I don't have time to wash it, but actually, you should wash your stuff instead of plastic, but it's just, I think it's just take more time.
Yeah, that's one way you can order. That's a mix of organic and conventionally grown food, but you can order food. It's a delivery service. So I don't know what.
Food assembly, both
Yeah,
food assembly. Food assembly is the most affordable to source from local producers because there's no retail establishment. So you have to go once a week to the food assembly pickup place and collect your food. So again, it takes a little bit more time. It's very affordable.
Okay, any more questions? Yeah.
I kind of just wanted to throw another suggestion really. Recently I went through quite a harsh depression over winter. My mood just takes a quick nosedive. And then summer I'm all out there and I'm just meeting so many people, dating everyone and all that. And it's totally different. And basically I just went through massive therapy and just part of my own little routine. I volunteered at a local charity shop in Hackney, the crisis shop. And it was supposed to be through Christmas, but actually I love it. It's mindful. You're using your skills. You must be so many skilled people in this room with design and photography and all that jazz. Just go and volunteer. It's amazing. You meet so many people from different walks of life. It's totally mindful. I go in the charity shop. I do all the window displays, and I spend all day doing it, which is ridiculous. But I'm just in there. I'm not thinking about my problems. I'm just going and saying hi to everyone. And it's amazing. And you might not think that you've got time, but most charities, they'll ask for you, if you can, to give 6 hours a week. But if not, just go for an hour and do some sorting or steaming the clothes. And it's a really great way. Everything I'm wearing, apart from my sunglasses, which are great, but everything else is donated. And I donated all my old clothes and I've got a whole new wardrobe for about 100 quid. And yeah, I feel absolutely amazing. I can't recommend it enough. So yeah, please do volunteer.
Yeah.
Hi, mine's not a question. I wanted to share a story that I find amazing and very exciting, and whenever I tell the story, people are very underwhelmed. But yeah, I think you might appreciate it and share my excitement. So about 3 years ago, I bought some stems of pussy willow from florist outside Clapham Junction Station, and I put them in a vase, and one of them took roots, and now it's a tree. I find that really miraculously exciting, but I tell people, they're like, oh.
Any more? Yeah.
So I've got a question. Is it true that a lot of food waste is because people chuck food out because it's past its kind of use by date, but actually you still can use it? And then kind of the second part of the question is, there's obviously loads of laws around food, health and safety. So are you allowed in your app to put stuff up that is past its use by date? Is that allowed?
There's 3 types of food waste. There's leftovers, there's past its use by date, and there's change of preference. And date labels are very confusing. Use by is an indicator, theoretically, of health and safety. Most people would agree that cheese and yogurt, and there's plenty of items that you can be much more flexible about and use your own judgment, and maybe not so with raw chicken or something. I don't eat meat, but I've heard it's not good to play around with the use by dates. So it is not all of it, but it is about 1/3 of household food waste. And the UK has the best data in the world on this. They have an organization called WRAP, which has gone into the bins over many years of thousands and thousands of households all across the country, and they really understand the source of food waste. So I do think that that's probably accurate. And on the app, as long as it's edible and you would eat it yourself, then there's nothing to stop you from sharing it. People are very self-selective. If yogurt that was used by yesterday doesn't appeal to you, you're just not going to request it. So it sort of works itself out.
Cool. Yeah.
Can I just share as well on those lines?
Yeah,
we're doing that.
Go for it.
Again, I thought I was rubbish at gardening, and I am rubbish at gardening. But I decided that I didn't want to spend any money. I spent £1 on a bag of compost in Poundland, and recycled yogurt pots and just anything that was plastic that I probably shouldn't have bought in the first place, but that, I don't know, a takeaway coming or whatever. Put holes in that, a bit of compost, and I decided just to put seeds in from stuff that I ate. And I now have a lemon tree, an avocado tree, what else do I have? An apple tree, a loquat tree. And I mean, they're only this big, but they're really happy, and they're on a little windowsill in my office. So do it. With lemons, you need to like peel the little layer of goo from off the seed, and then you literally put them above a bit of compost and add water. And it's like you said, you go every time I went into the office, I was like, oh my god, you're a little bit bigger. It's really exciting. So and it's free, completely free. It doesn't cost any money. So do it.
Oh, great. Chilies are also a really good one as well.
We've got a question right here as well.
Oh yeah,
it's more on the mindful thing, as in like mentally thinking about it. It's the practice that we talked about in the sessions that you did have been done for hundreds of years through Buddhism, Hinduism, out in the East, and now at the moment in Western culture it is sort of the word of the moment, mindful, and you know, you get all these books and then there's the colouring book phase. Do you think that it's actually people are going to be able to implement it in their everyday society in the Western culture, because, and it is moving out of the Eastern culture as it becomes more Western, because it is so fast? And do you think the culture is actually going to be able to change to slow itself down, or do you think it is going to sort of be hard to embed it in the culture? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a really, there's sort of two questions there, I think. It's a really, really common question about how we've taken this practice from the East, maybe stripped it of its spirituality and brought it to the West. And I guess to answer your question about whether I think society can adopt it, I do. I really do. And sort of one of the reasons I believe that is mental health is a really growing issue. It's going to be I think it's already, depression is the second or third sort of like greatest burden of disease in the world at the moment. And it's not just a Western problem, it's also happening in developing countries as well. So I think we are going to have to slow down as a society for our own health, and I think people are realizing that. And sort of taking it from the East, it's an interesting question, because it comes from the Buddha, from early Buddhism, the mindfulness we have in the West. And he wasn't out to set up a religion or anything, but he was a humanist, he was a social reformer, if anything, and he was just about setting up a human experiment of like looking at what it means to be human. And I think the more people that hear about the mindfulness and start practicing, you start exploring yourself, and once you start practicing, it's really hard to stop because of this journey that you go on. I'm not sure if I really answered your question, but I think it's also supported in the West by the huge amounts of scientific research that's been done. It's crazy. In the 70s, I think there was John Kabat-Zinn who brought it over, started in the 70s. I think he published like 2 papers, and then the graph for the papers just goes like this. It is insane. And it's just sort of not just mental health issues, it's also dementia, cancer, creativity. It's being brought into the workplace by like really big companies like Google with their Search Inside Yourself program. So I have seen shifts taking place in organizations. I think people are moving away maybe from capitalism and the cities and wanting to search for something better. A lot of people in the younger generation, I think, are sort of feeling a bit uneasy at the moment. They're sort of like trying to achieve something with their lives and sort of like have all these pressures put on them. And because of that, I'm sorry, I'm going on such a tangent with my thoughts, but I think it's going to start being brought into our schools a lot more. There's a really huge research project being funded by the Wellcome Trust, being done at the University of Oxford, into really bringing it into our schools, and the early research shows it's really beneficial for children, especially as they're getting more and more exams piled on earlier and earlier in their lives. So, yes.
No, that did answer it. It's just whether society will be able to change as a culture to adopt it, or whether it will be something that will stay on the fringes. But it's encouraging to hear that they are like looking into it in schools and stuff.
Yeah. And in that line of thinking, it's not really so much the West though, is it? Because if you go to Europe or Scandinavia, they're much more of that mindset anyway. Like even if you go to Paris,
they take 2 hours every day for lunch, and they sit at a table with people and they eat, and that in itself is a more mindful lifestyle. It's more America and the UK. And am I right in thinking that? That have this relentless pace?
Yeah. I think probably that is true. Like in the Spanish as well, they seem to, they take their siestas and things. It's not something I've thought about, to be completely honest. But
I think in Sweden,
yeah,
work day,
they do seem to be a lot more like about self-compassion and self-care. Whereas I think in the UK, it's like work comes first. Oh, I've just been given this huge thing. It must be done tomorrow. I'm going to do that. But actually, I really need something different. And
I feel like that's come from America, and we've sort of followed that pattern, and the rest of Europe
has not so much. Yeah, it's a good point.
Anyone else? Yeah, one last one.
The healing power of lavender. So if you're going to put your mind thinking growing techniques, in Carshalton, deep south London, there's a community lavender garden. And on Saturdays you can go and you can help plant or whatever, depending on what time of the year it is, which season it is. And then you get to have some lavender for yourself. So if anybody fancies playing the lavender field, Carshalton, they're online.
Cool. For people at the back, that was like a community lavender garden that you can join on a Saturday. Sounds amazing. But thank you so much for everyone here. I forgot to mention, and I'm sure everyone here read what the event was about, but all the profits are going to the mental health charity Mind. So thank you so much. That will be going to them very shortly. So thank you so much. Please have yourself a snacks and drinks. Do leave your little notes and comments. Be really appreciative. Come to the back and chat to us and get to know these amazing people. And thank you so much.
Yay!